This is the Quickfire XTI, a mechanical gaming keyboard from Cooler Master. Featuring Cherry MX brown switches, this keyboard aims to please gamers and typists alike. But should you get one? Join me for the full review to find out. Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to another video in the studio. Now today we're looking at the Quickfire XTI from Cooler Master, and this is a full-size keyboard that features a few things that do things slightly differently to some of its competition. We've seen the likes of Xtrfy, which are all about performance and they don't have silly software or anything like that, or at least they think it's silly, whereby the other side of things you've got Corsair at the moment going crazy, saying look at all these lighting effects, look at all these things you can do with software. This keyboard is a little bit in the middle, as it doesn't actually come with software, but it does have some more gamer-centric features that will appeal to people that want to do more than just game. Now it all starts with the keyboard itself, because its switch type here is Cherry MX brown. And it does come in a choice of red, brown or blue, so of course blue is going to be best for typists, it's the most clicky, whereas red is going to be the best for pure gamers that want the quickest typing response but don't have any linear feedback. But the one we've got here today is brown, and I was quite keen to actually use this keyboard for a long period of time because I've been so used to using a Cherry MX red and now more recently a Cherry MX speed switch that I really did want to see if I could adjust, because I do a lot of typing, so it sort of makes sense for me to have the keyboard that's in the middle between a blue and a red switch. So without further ado, what is the keyboard actually like though? Well, this brown switch is pretty decent to use, but we get onto that later. And you've got Cherry MX brown switches underneath every key. You don't have any plasticky things, membrane things for any of the keys at all. Now because this doesn't feature any software, you have quite an array of keys and they can do different things. You can do things like set macros and record macros and then play them back. You've also got, and this actually caught me out and tripped me up a little bit as well, at the top of the keyboard you'll find that you have 1x, 2x, 4x and 8x, and these can be triggered by pressing the function key and then one of these keys, and then it means you can actually press a key and then it will double press if you set it to 2 times, or quad press if you set it to times 4. Which means that if you want to quickly press keys back to back, then this is quite a useful way of doing that. But I did accidentally enable this and realised then that I couldn't actually play my games, and it took me a while to work out what it was. It was that I had 2x turned on at all times. But otherwise it's a full-size keyboard, so you've got pretty much all the keys here you need. You've got function keys that do the more traditional things, and I really like using function keys. I'm so used to them, and I have to say that Corsair do a very good job of getting the volume rocker right, because it's a wheel that you can adjust and it feels semi-analog. And on this it's sort of a mixed bag, because unlike the Xtrfy keyboard that I most recently tested, this keyboard, they're just in a little bit of a weird place, the media keys. And I'm sure if you get used to it, it's absolutely fine. But I do sort of chop and change between keyboards quite often, and it does quite often throw me off, as I sort of like having the usual previous, play, pause, skip buttons next to each other, and it does sort of take you a while to find them if you're not used to doing so. The keycaps themselves are very nice to use. You'll often find that you have some nice mechanical keyboards that have keycaps that just don't feel great, and when you push them they just don't sort of feel as nice as you would like. Here though they feel really nice. You've got a semi-textured finish, they call it an ultraviolet finish or something very similar to that. And overall, just like all of the Cooler Master keyboards I've used in recent years, I have to say that they all feel really nice, and they have somewhat mastered having solid feeling keycaps. And when you do go to press them down, because this is a MX brown switch, then you will notice that you have a little bit of tactile feedback, but not much. And this makes gaming fairly easy, because there's still quite a low actuation force to actually trigger a key. But then if you're typing, you'll find that you'll make less mistakes, at least in theory, because you don't need to press the keys all the way down, but you still need to press them down a little bit more than you would on a red switch or a speed switch, which will mean that in theory you should be less likely to accidentally press any of the keys. Now, moving to the actual underside of the keys, and as we've already talked about, this is an MX brown switch, or red or blue, depending on what you go for. And you can remove these easily with the included key removal tool, which I don't know why, but they've included this long, horrible key removal tool when they should be providing the old-fashioned one that they used to, which was a lot shorter. And I have to say that it was a little bit tricky to remove the keycaps, but it's not really a big deal, to be honest. And underneath each key you'll find the RGB lighting, but it's not RGB lighting, it's RGB without the green. So you've got red and blue LEDs underneath each switch, and you can control these with the keyboard because there is no software to control this for you. And the benefit of this is that if you are moving your keyboard from place to place, then it's all stored on the keyboard. And you have how many do you have? It's around about 10 different actual lighting color choices, and it goes very bright. I have to say this is one of the brightest keyboards I've used in recent years, and as long as you like color of red, blue or something in between, you're going to get on very nicely with the keyboard lighting. And you can set various different effects as well, so if you want type key lighting or things like that, you've got a nice choice here. And while it's not as in-depth and while you don't have as many cool effects as you do with the Corsair peripherals, I normally find that I just sort of set two colours on those keyboards and just forget it anyway. So for me, not having a wide array of RGB customizability is not something I care about at all, and you can save yourself a load of money by not going for an RGB keyboard, but it is of course entirely down to personal preference. Now, I haven't really sat down and done a lot of code on this keyboard, so I can't really comment on that, but I have done the more sort of general clerical work, so like tax information, and of course just general use and just all the typing that comes with that. And I have to say that while it doesn't blow me away, I have to say I do quite like the switch. Now, that isn't to detract from this keyboard, because I think the execution of the mechanical brown switch in combination with the Cooler Master keycaps is really good, and I have to say it provides a really nice experience. And as soon as we move on to the gaming experience, I was playing a bit of Dota this morning, and it's just a really nice keyboard to use. I've used so many that they do start to all sort of merge together, but this is definitely one of the best ones I've used. But if you are a pure gamer, then I probably would recommend looking at a red switch, or more recently the Cherry MX Speed Switch, because my personal favourite switch at the moment I think is the MX Speed Switch. But if I was going to have a keyboard for sort of home office use, which obviously I do, then I probably would consider very strongly a brown switch. And because it's a quieter switch than the blue switch, then if you are using this as a sort of full-time typing keyboard and you don't really do any gaming, that also makes it a very sensible choice as well. And so then, that's pretty much everything I have to say about the keyboard, and we need to wrap this up. There are definitely a few things wrong with this keyboard. I'm not entirely sure why they put the media keys on the right-hand side. It's definitely going to be fairly easy for you lot to get used to, but if you've ever used a keyboard that has media keys before, you probably find that they are in a different position to what you're used to. The cord as well, while it is a braided detachable cord, the cord that comes supplied with the keyboard is a little bit too short for my liking. It's not going to be a problem, but if you're someone that is constantly sort of unplugging your computer, moving stuff around, I found that when I'm plugging everything in, it's always that keyboard cable that's a little bit too short, and I then have to sort of push the computer further back than I normally would. But again, really don't think this is going to be a big deal for most people. I think the main complaint really I have with the keyboard is the fact that it doesn't come with software, which is fine, I don't have a problem with that. But it does come very, very close in terms of price to the Corsair K70, which is one of the best keyboards you can currently buy. Now, whether you want to spend the extra money on the Corsair K70 comes down to whether you're going to use the software. Because don't forget, if you go for the K70 RGB, that is a lot more expensive, and having a wide array of colour choices without having to pay the RGB tax is actually quite a nice thing and puts this at a very nice price point. So, do you need software, or do you just need a high performance keyboard? And if you do, this is a very good option, which is why it actually wins the top purchase award. As long as you know what you're buying into and you buy the right switch, I think you're going to be very happy with this keyboard. I mean, it feels great to use, it's very strong, it's got a wide array of adjustments, and there's only a few small niggles really. And yeah, there we go. If you have any questions about this keyboard or any other keyboard, leave them down in the comment section below. I've tested so many these days and there's plenty more reviews to come, especially when they're all using very similar switches. It's quite hard to choose a keyboard and it's definitely quite hard to review them, but hopefully you think I'm doing a good job. If I am, let me know, hit the like button, and if I'm not, hit the dislike button, but please let me know why. For more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe. If you want to see a video of the Corsair K70 or the Corsair K70 RGB, you can find that in the top right hand corner of your screen. For more videos like this, like I say, do subscribe. And I'll leave the Amazon affiliate links down in the description below if you do want to check out this product. And so there we go. A massive thank you once again, and I'll see you in the next video.